We likely aren't even close to the overall bottom of this cycle, and the bear market is probably going to continue for more months ahead, probably up until at least the Q4 time period of 2026. But what you can be doing right now is making sure that you have a plan and really just shaping up your watch list on altcoins that you want to DCA, which altcoins are dying during this bear market, and which altcoins are actually building up quality in the background, and you need to have a thorough plan on how to get into these at the bottom of the bear market. So in this video, I'm going to go over things to look at an altcoin as to whether you should be DCAing into it this bear market, and which ones you probably shouldn't, and you should rule out of your future buy plans. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Before we get started, guys, be sure to drop down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more every single week here on In the Game. We have you covered across crypto, prediction markets, and more. All the links down below in the description. Like and subscribe to the video. And a big shout out to our exchange sponsor here on In the Game, one of the best perp dexes out there. And you can actually farm this airdrop and maybe get free money in the future. And that is from Gravity. And when we look at some of these charts today, I will be utilizing the Gravity charting to take a look at some of the altcoins that I am going to be referencing in this video. And this is definitely not me saying, that I dislike a certain altcoin, but I'm going to show you metrics as to why I think other altcoins could be stronger than some that I'm going to make examples of in today's video. So let's just go ahead and dive into it, guys. I mean, the market has kind of stabilized in this high 60,000 range, and it's pretty nice to see some of the quality that we have been talking about. 𝗵𝗹𝗀𝗏 up 26% this week. We see stuff like Hyperliquid still ranging up 20% over the course of the month. Zcash having a nice bounce back, up 24% over the course of the weekly time frame. 𝗵𝗵𝗀 is up 20% on the weekly as well. Jupiter up 14%. So we're seeing a lot of quality altcoins actually kind of stabilizing and even having some bounces. However, I don't think that this is the bottom, but you can start to see some signs, right? I mean, we see Rand saying for the first time in 12 years, he's questioning Bitcoin's thesis. And Trader Man, give me more tweets like this as the year progresses, and maybe some more drawdown and pain in the crypto markets. And that'll make the perfect recipe for generational longs for the next cycle. I completely agree with that. This is, the start, right? And obviously, I love Rand, but these are the types of tweets that you will start to make reference of and be like, okay, we could be getting towards a sentiment bottom when people are saying they're questioning Bitcoin's thesis. And today we see MicroStrategy buying $169 million more of Bitcoin. And I do agree with this tweet that if you are thinking that we're going sub 50K and you're willing to just stake all of your money on waiting on below 50K, you are going to miss the bottom, which is really the point of this video. I'm going to make it a quick hit video today on how you need to start preparing to buy the dip on altcoins, especially if you do think we are going lower, and which coins are going to survive and which are not. Okay. I did tweet this last week, and in the last crypto video on this channel, I did talk about my accumulation priorities: Bitcoin, Hyperliquid, Tau, and KETA. And I think you can really go over the whole watch list and say, okay, Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, BNB, Solana, all 5 of those are here for the next cycle. But definitely not all altcoins are going to make it through to the next cycle. And some have really lost momentum, lost credibility, and probably won't be as strong whenever the next bull run does begin. So we're going to talk about that in this video. Number one, we're going to start with the guard, right? The old head, the dinosaur coins. We're talking about Cardano, Chainlink, stuff like Avalanche, even Aave. These coins have been around for quite some time. BNB, Solana, like I said, I believe in those. I think those are not going anywhere. If you have a plan to DCA any of these top 5 here, BNB, Solana, XRP, ETH, and Bitcoin, I think you're going to do well at that point in time. I think Dogecoin is still alive. I think Dogecoin is still probably the main meme that everyone thinks of in crypto. Even I think Cardano, like, I think that the Cardano army, like the XRP army, the ADA army, they definitely will prop this coin up over the course of time. But look, I'll be completely honest with you. Like, I think Avalanche has lost a lot of momentum and credibility, and I think if you're going to be buying into something like Avalanche in this bear market, you better have a diligent plan on how to take profits on that. And I just think the targets overall have lowered on a token like Avalanche. Whereas if you look at another, token like Hyperliquid, the targets are just set higher for the next time that we do turn around. And that's hard for me to say. I love AVAX. I think it's a great project, but at the same time, you can see the lack of strength on the charts, down 33% this month. Even 𝗬𝗎 down 45% on the monthly time frame. Near Protocol down 40% on the monthly time frame. Ethena has really taken one of the biggest hits in the entire market, down 43% over the course of time. Aptos down 50%. So a lot of these, to me, when you see that weakness over the course of this time period, that really is hard for me to say, okay, like that is a coin I really want at the top of my priority list when it comes to buys. And you can just look at chain data for this. You can see here like Monad, one of the new VC launches this cycle. You can see that, as a chain, they only made $2,293 over the course of the last 24 hours. That is pretty much a dead chain. You can see Berachain, they made $90 in the last 24 hours. So a lot of these like sexy new VC launches definitely are not going to be worth your time and especially worth your money whenever it comes to DCAing at the bottoms. You can compare these numbers with something like Hyperliquid, which even during this time period, we can go to fees and revenue, and we can see here over the course of 24 hours, they actually made $1.18 million. And that's a slow day usually for something like Hyperliquid. And if you think that, I'm, maybe being too hard on something like an Avalanche, you can see here the TVL is down from, bull market 2021, 11.4 billion. TVL is now below $1 billion. And over the course of 24 hours, they have done $4,000 in chain revenue. That is a big fall from where things were at certain points in time. And as quality and as many good projects build on Avalanche, as you can see here, just the steam has really ran out on tokens like this, which makes you wonder, is it going to be worth, looking into for DCAs? I think the targets on something like this are now set lower, and the targets on stuff like Hyperliquid or Tau, the kings of their respective niches, are now probably set way higher when the market does eventually bottom. And another one I mentioned that's definitely gone down on conviction list and probably is something I don't even care to scoop up the lows on is 𝗬𝗎. I mean, you can see the TVL drop even in the last 4 months. The chain has been dysfunctional. The token has been very much underperforming, now below $1. It's down 50% over the course of the month. They've done, $6,000 over the course of the last 24 hours. Like that's for a full blown blockchain as VC funded as some of these things are. It's really hard numbers to put into perspective. Whenever you see XRP still thriving, you see stuff like KETA thriving. I mean, they're integrated into so many different payment platforms. And like Belmar says here, they're one of the only tokens that are AI proof. They're just dealing in the banking industry and payment processing. It's one of those things that is definitely not going to be disrupted by this big AI surge that we have been seeing. So in my opinion, when it comes to chain layers, you have to take a look at some of this data. I mean, people are already considering Monad a brand new chain, a dead chain, and they're doing exactly the same numbers on revenue as Avalanche. And Avalanche is, most of the time considered a top tier chain. So you have to actually start reading through the data and see that probably the targets on something like that are now set lower. And look into the strength when you see Hyperliquid, the revenue coming through, when you see stuff like Tau or KETA And you can look at some of the competitors that are just absolutely not keeping up. You can see Aster and Lighter not doing near the numbers that Hyperliquid is. And this is just the reality of it. During bear markets, you have to form a plan. You have to cut the fat off your portfolio, off your watch list, and you have to make sure that you are diligent and executing near the bottoms on good projects with higher targets, not the ones that have lost momentum and lost credibility during bear markets. So that's my plan. And like I said, these 4 tokens are definitely the ones that I have the most priority on. The last thing I'll talk about here is gaming coins. I do think that there might be a big bounce in gaming, but you really have to determine what you want in your portfolio. Like Ronin is down 95%. You can see stuff like IMX is even getting just absolutely eaten alive. I think that if I was to go into one token at the very bare bones bottom of this market, I would probably be looking at something like Gunzilla because they're still in early access and the unlocks are about to start. Usually that sell pressure actually brings a lot of upside because early investors will dump and then people will come in and scoop up those tokens and actually run the price higher. But I'm definitely not looking to DCA that in the short term. I would rather do that probably closer to the overall bottom of the market and actually see something like that, which has been beaten down to shreds. I mean, this thing's down, probably also 90+% since it launched. But you can actually scoop this up cheap and probably run up a couple 100% pretty easily if we get a bottom. And the gaming niche, I think, might actually have a big pump whenever that does happen because of how down bad they have been over the course of time. So really just it's the time to do research and take a look at some of these chain layer numbers and figure out the things that you want to take advantage of this bear market and which projects you want to try to buy whenever it comes to the bottom of this bear market. And I just want to show you, some of these charts. Whenever I'm talking about how some of these coins have just lost steam, lost momentum, I've heard a lot of people try to tell me, we're at the bottom of some of these certain coins. I'll just go to the daily on Monad. This thing is down 70% since launch, and it's only been a couple of months. We can go over here. We can look at something like I'm talking about, like Avalanche. This pattern here from $35 down to $9. I mean, it's down 80% since its highs back in September. And really, only reclaimed this for about a day or two. Like this is the daily chart. So we had this price for like 3 days and then boom, done. So you can see the momentum being lost on a lot of these coins. We can look at something like a 𝗠𝗠𝗀 on the daily chart. I mean, this one's ugly. Like 𝗠𝗠𝗀's very, very ugly whenever it comes to this daily chart. Really, ever since July 15th, this thing has been nothing but down, and the market topped around this time period. So it really never went through any resemblance of a bull market during this cycle, when in reality, you can look at something like a Hyperliquid and say, okay, the daily chart here, and it's not showing all the data. I don't know why, but this thing, I can go to Nexus actually and just show this. Hyperliquid actually had a bull market, right? And you want coins that still have a relevant bull cycle. Like this thing went from $13 all the way to $58 and is still holding at $30. It's not even down 50% since its bull market highs. So that's the type of things I'm looking to DCA. And I think you really have to do your due diligence on what is dying right now, what is not going to be worth your time and money, and then what you should be prioritizing for purchases at the bottom of the bear market. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. And if you want more around prediction markets, we did open up in the Chart Hackers Discord. So Dylan and his team allowed me to come in there, and I'm just giving a lot of alpha and different trends, information, and selections. We actually won our first 6 predictions in the group there, absolutely free. So to join the prediction market section, you can join down below. There should be a 𝗏𝗏.com link. Click into it. Absolutely free to join and get all the information. I'm going to be adding a ton of channels, copy trading strategies for big wallets and different niches, and data where you can find big volume, things to track so you can become a profitable prediction markets trader. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Like the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and stay bullish, my friends.